the bolt. What Lieutenant Day is saying here is the rifle was found with its bolt closed and the bolt was not opened until Captain Fritz opened it on receiving it from Lieutenant Day. And then unexpectedly a live round was ejected. A few questions later, he repeated this assertion. When the bolt is open, one round, he said when bolt opened, one live round was in the barrel. Presumably means the round was chambered as opposed to being in the magazine. However, the Tom Allier film, which shows the actual instant of the rifle being taken from the boxes, completely contradicts this. But there's a problem here. The Tom Allier film appears to show the bolt already open when the rifle was discovered. But if in addition to the open bolt, there's already a round in the chamber, and that round must have been inserted after the bolt had been opened. In other words, the fourth round must have been manually inserted. Either Oswald, after firing 3 shots, opened the bolt after the 3rd shot, ejected the round, and since there were no more rounds in the clip, which in consequence would have fallen clear of the rifle, manually inserted a 4th round, which he had been keeping in his pocket. This 4th round he never fired, indeed he never closed the bolt on the bullet. Or it was a planted rifle. Remember, the Mauser issue does raise the question of a substitution of rifles. So this could have been a planted rifle, and somebody inserted a 4th round to make the shooting look more convincing, and had to insert the round manually because there's no ammunition clip. The planting of the rifle was done so hurriedly the bolt was not closed. That's one interpretation. The Mannlicher Carcano had a unique ammunition clip. The Mauser stripper clips, the Mauser and all other rotating bolt action rifles use a sort of clip shown on the left. They were called stripper clips. These were called stripper clips, a term that will be explained in detail later. Basically it means the clip plays no part in the operation of the rifle. The clip is loaded into the gun, but the bullets are stripped from it, and the clip without entering the rifle is discarded. So you put the clip slightly into the rifle, you strip the bullets from the clip into the rifle, then the clip is discarded. In all other rifles, the clip does not take part in the actual firing of the rifle. In the Mannlicher, what used to be called the en bloc system, the clip carries the bullets into the rifle magazine and plays a crucial part in the operation of the rifle. The only other en bloc rifle at the time of the assassination was the semi-automatic M1 Garand. It loaded 8 rounds in its clip, which was discharged from the top of the rifle. There it is being discharged there. It was discharged by a device. It wasn't a natural thing. It was thrown into the air by a device, and the point is it discharged its clip, not when the clip was empty, but only when the last round had been fired. Now we're beginning to get somewhere near what may have happened. If somebody was planting a rifle and they thought it'd be a good idea to insert a live round, more convincing as if the gun had been fired, if they confuse the Mannlicher Carcano with the M1 Garand, which is very likely because most of those police officers or people of that age group would have fired the M1 Garand was regarded by General Patton as one of the most important weapons in the Second World War. So they would have fired an M1 Garand, and they would have thought mistakenly that the Mannlicher required an ammunition clip. One of the greatest errors, if that is a true story, of the assassination. Now, here is the clip. I've got a very detailed coverage in your notes there. And the coverage I give, you'll never find anywhere on the internet. It is a vast amount of searching, and then had a great deal of help from Peter Antill. Very, very simply, what happens is you've got this is the clip here. Now, I've got to think very carefully now. You can see the basic action. As you load a bullet into the breech, the pressure on the spring eases, the spring moves up, and it moves the next round into position. Obviously, you've got to have a very, very smooth clip, so the bullets will move up very naturally. If there's any fault in the clip, it will start to jam. So that must be a very well-made clip, a very, very smooth surface. So the bullets have got to move up the clip naturally. As one is chambered, the pressure puts the other one there. Now, the problem which I raised with Peter Anter was, if you load a clip, what keeps it in the rifle? Why, you see, you load a clip, you push the clip down onto this spring, but as soon as you release your hand, the spring will put the clip upwards. So what happens is this: the clip is not in touch with the magazine, and the clip is never in touch with the spring. How it works is the bullets fit firmly into the clip. The spring acts only on the bullets, not on the clip, on the bullets. It's got a horizontal component to its action, and as the spring touches the bullets, the horizontal component of the pressure pushes the clip against the wall of the magazine. The clip will then glide a little bit up the magazine, as if it's going to come out. It just sort of moves slightly upwards, and there is attached here a special clip here. So as the clip moves upward, it locks into a device, very small clip, on the magazine. That stops the clip from moving upwards. It does not stop the clip from moving downwards. Now, when the clip is empty, there's no pressure. When there are no bullets there, there's no pressure on the clip. Why is there no pressure on the clip? Because the spring is never in touch with the clip. The spring is only in touch with the bullets, and it's the bullets that put the pressure on the clip. Once the bullets have gone, the clip automatically comes away from the wall of the magazine. The holding joints disengage, and the clip falls naturally to the ground. And Peter Ansel sent me videos of his clip, and the clip just falls like that. It's as natural as that. That's why I've got the clown there. If you cut the clown's braces, what's going to happen to his trousers? Well, that's exactly the same with the clip. Now, everybody wants to disguise that. Everybody. Bugliosi. And my God, that man's important. He's one of the most important people there are. Well, I'm going everywhere. Because, see, he's writing this 900-page book in defense of the official verdict. So he got masses of help from everybody. He got help from the CIA, FBI, Dallas police, you know, they'd have all helped him. And he says about this clip, he says it's detachable. Now, that's perfectly correct, it is. If you had loaded a full clip into the rifle and you didn't want to use it, there's a spring by the trigger, there's a little lever, you just press that, it releases a spring, and the whole clip comes upwards. So he's dead right. What he doesn't say is the natural position of the clip is to fall out of the rifle. He never says that. He lets you think that when the clip is empty, the clip will remain in the rifle. It won't fall to the ground. You just detach it. That's what he lets you believe, and we'll see why he does that. Also, the report said the rifle contained the clip, and they gave two references, both of which were false. The first reference to Will Fritz never, any time in his testimony to the Commission, was ever asked about the rifle clip. The second clip is Lieutenant Day, and I said in the notes, all Lieutenant Day ever said about the clip, was its manufactured number. So, well, thank God I've done that, because that's always worried me, that Richard Ticker, you get in a muddle. why sometimes the clip fails to fall. Although the clip is designed to fall when the magazine is empty, occasionally it doesn't and stays in place. Well, the most simplest reason is because the holding clips didn't disengage for some reason. But there are other reasons as well. In repeated use, i.e. falling repeatedly on very hard tarmac or concrete ground, the clip becomes damaged. It's a manufacturing died a very small error, possibly a minute one, can affect the ability of the clip to slide away when not supported, or that it doesn't disengage from the holding clips. A clip may be very hurriedly, forcibly, incorrectly inserted, causing it to become bent. 4. Possibly the wear and tear of repeated use can weaken a clip to such an extent that it easily buckles or bends. 5th, dirt may enter through the exit aperture at the bottom of the magazine. And finally, an inferior manufactured clip, wrong materials, may expand slightly from the heating. Well, that was an argument put forward by Monty Lutz, and I've dealt with that in the handouts. A clip in a Mannlicher Carno is an integral part of the rifle's repeat fire operation, and therefore any damage to the clip will cause either the rifle to jam or load with difficulty. The reason being the passage of the rounds up the clip, the movement of the rounds up the clip will either be handicapped or prevented because the clip is in some part out of shape. An exception may occur when I should got 0.5, there should be 0.6, but it is possible, since expansion will be gradual, it may not be completed till the last round is fired. That if you accept the argument, the clip may overheat. This could mean that the rifle could fire without jamming, yet the clip stuck in the rifle. Whether the rifle will quickly cool, then the slightly expanded clip would contract its normal size and fall out of the rifle. Now, if you've got a damaged clip in any way whatsoever, the clip is not perfect. I remember the bullets are going to move up this clip very, very smoothly. It's got to be a very well, precisely made clip. That's why the Mauser changed the whole design. What the Mauser people said was, look, it's no good making all these hundreds of clips for each rifle. What we want to do is to make one absolutely perfectly manufactured clip and then install it in the rifle permanently. That was the... Now, this is what happens if the clips become jammed in the rifle. They simply get like that, and the rifle won't fire. And this chap in the video, he has no end of trouble trying to fire his gun, because the clip kept on jamming because it's slightly damaged in some way. This chap here has got a similar difficulty. What he's doing is he's actually trying to force the bullet up. He's had to take the rifle not only for his shoulder, but rest it against his knee. Now, if Oswald were using a damaged clip, that he'd either end up like that, and this chap said, God knows how Oswald did it, I can't, I've been trying all morning. And this chap, obviously, he could have fired 3 rounds in 8 seconds, 2 in very quick succession. Right. The right-hand photograph shows Lieutenant Day showing the discovered rifle to the press. The left-hand photograph is the first evidential picture of the clip. Essential point, it was not an official police photograph, but a private one. It was taken by W.G. Allen of the Dallas Times-Herald just before 2 p.m., about 25 minutes after the rifle was found, and about 85 minutes after it had allegedly been fired. It shows Lieutenant Day having jostled through crowds of journalists, eventually carrying the weapon to his car. His onward journey was to his office at Dallas Police HQ, where the rifle hidden from the press, where it was actually shown to the press about at 6 o'clock, and then nobody else saw it. So it was in their possession for about 10 hours. In my opinion, this is by far the most important assassination photograph. I think it's the most important photograph in the whole of the assassination, more important than the Zapruder frames. No other picture compares with it. Actually, there were 7 pictures he took like this in quick succession. It establishes on 2 counts quite clearly not only the assassination was a conspiracy, but one prepared in Washington. Well, that comes from me. I'll explain why a moment later. First, conspiracy evidence. The Allen photograph shows the clip hanging out of the magazine. In view of everything that has been said in the previous slides, the clip in this picture is obviously jammed into the magazine. Finally, as Lieutenant Day approaches his car, the clip originally contained out of sight in the magazine had become loosened by the way the rifle had been jostled, and in consequence started to move just slightly out of its hiding place, the magazine. This shows what a Mannlicher ammunition clip looks like when emptied of its bullets. It naturally falls away from the magazine like a clown's trousers when his braces are cut. If we compare it with the clip of the Allen photograph, we can see the Allen clip has only very slightly come away from the magazine, despite all the jostling and waving around the rifle. This comparison indicates that the clip must have been very badly jammed, either because it was damaged in itself, or badly made, or badly inserted. Whichever was the reality, the result would have been the same. The easy load of the bullets would have been prevented. Without this easy loading, the gun would have been reduced to a single-shot rifle, not capable in untrained hands of firing 3 shots in less than 24 seconds, putting aside the added time for the retargeting. Bear in mind that the 3 shots allegedly fired were not equally spaced. The last 2 shots were nearly on top of one another. This picture of the ammunition clip therefore makes it clear there is no way that Lieutenant Day's rifle was the assassination weapon. This jamming of the ammunition clip is discussed very fully in my post-presentation handout. Now, the ammunition clip Lieutenant Day is carrying a clip-dependent rifle. This rifle, as I've repeatedly pointed out, cannot be a Mauser, because a Mauser doesn't use an ammunition clip. Now consider some of the statements made by Vincent Bugliosi, the great defender of orthodoxy. Referring to the Dallas Attorney General, Henry Wade, Bugliosi asserted, Wade's assistant prosecutors, Bill Alexander in particular, worked closely with the police. In another quotation informs us about an hour before the big international press conference, Henry Wade plows his way through the field reporters lined up in the corridors outside the Homicide and Robbery Bureau. Inside, Assistant DA Bill Alexander, FBI agent Jim Brookhat, and Captain Fritz are waiting. At Wade's request, Fritz begins to outline the considerable amount of evidence that the Dallas Police Department has impressively gathered so far, the gun, the witnesses, etc. So when Wade made his statement to the press that a Mauser, I believe, he'd been in full discussion. It wasn't something he said off his own bat. Right. In his press conference, District Attorney Wade stated, well, there's a lot of physical evidence that was gathered. Wade says, including the gun. That is on its way by Air Force jet to the FBI crime lab in Washington. Despite the fact that Wade has been closeted for over an hour with senior law enforcement officers, when asked to make of the gun, a question he and his advisors knew he was going to be asked, he answered, it's a Mauser, I believe. In other words, he was in effect denying the existence of the clip shown in that picture there, despite the fact that W.G. Allen photographs, I believe they were on the television at 3:50 in the afternoon. The only solid first-hand internet information on Wade's midnight press conference, in which he gave the answer Mauser, I believe, is a YouTube 4-minute, very shortened version of the TV original. This you can play by Googling Henry Wade JFK Midnight Conference. However, surprise, surprise, Wade's Mauser answer has been edited out, and I wonder why. Right, now I want to go on a little bit more because some issues about that clip, because since I wrote that, I've had quite a good think about it. According to the Warren Commission exhibits, they show pictures of the Oswald alleged ammunition clip. And all those pictures show a clip in absolutely perfect condition. Now that presents everybody in this room with a very big problem, which all of you must attempt some form of solution. During his Warren Commission testimony, Lieutenant Day was asked, when he took the gun to his office, what did you do to it? How did you process it? He said, I took the fingerprints, I photographed it, I examined this, I examined that. He never said he extracted the clip. There was a clip in the rifle when he was taking it to his car. There was no clip when he showed it to the press at 6:30. So somebody removed that clip. He never said, that's one of the things I did in the office, and it must have been surely the biggest thing that he did. But he was quite justified in saying that, because he never took the clip out in his office. The truth emerged 14 years later in the HSCA investigation when Robert Edgar was questioning Monty Lutz, and it emerged that what happened was he took the rifle to the crime laboratory and they removed the clip. Now, if the clip had been just simply jammed, Lieutenant Day could have done two things. He could have inserted another clip on top which would have pushed the jammed one out. That's what normally happens. Or he could have used the emergency release button by the trigger and the clip would have come out vertically. Obviously he tried those two things and it didn't work. So they went to the crime lab. And the crime lab had to take the clip out of the rifle. That's in the HSCA, it doesn't come from me. I'm coming here to be close to you, because this is so important.